B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach. Bruchim Habayim to a amazing event, Baruch Hashem. The big Mazal Tov from myself, from the Rabbanit, from Rabbi Ephraim. He sends his personal Mazal Tov to the Chatan V'Kala. Kadosh Baruch Hu yivarech otchem b'kol mikol kol. Chaim arukim, shlemim, meleim Torah, mitzvot, gemilut chasadim, nachat. B'ezrat Hashem, Giveret Mayan, B'ezrat Hashem, you adjust quickly to the new community, and let me know if there's any trouble coming from the guys, so we'll have to deal with them in a different way. If the shiur doesn't work, his brother is a little bigger than him. If his brother causes problems, we'll send Mike over here. We'll drive 2 hours to. We have to fix. We have to figure it. It's one big family. It's one big family. No, but Baruch Hashem, it's a big schut to have people in your life and see them grow closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, grow in their life, do good things. But of course, every one of us has different obstacles that we have to have the tools to overcome them. If a person has an obstacle and he doesn't have the tools, then by the time the obstacle comes, he gets confused, he gets hurt, chas v'shalom, all types of things. So that's why the point of learning Torah is in order to gather all the tools before you need them. But for a little Milah de b'dichuta, Chachamim said that one good thing to do is to start off Dvar Torah with a little joke to lighten up the topic. But also, when you lighten up the topic before you start, it opens up, makes people more comfortable, and opens up their mind. So, one of the things that I dislike the most, but that I have to do once in a while, is the issues of shidduchim. Now, generally speaking, something like this I love. Why? Finished product. It all worked out, Baruch Hashem. He likes her, she likes him. They ended up getting married. I was even invited. Baruch Hashem, everything is great. It's finished product. I love this. The tough part is getting to this point. And sometimes you have to deal with people that are a little bit not all there. Why? The guy says, Rabbi, I met the shidduch, and she's like God. What do you mean she's like God? Says she has no body or image of a body. I said, this is your focus. Okay, I said that. So this is sometimes it happens, and then the girl calls. He says, Rabbi, how is the shidduch? She says, Rabbi, he's like God. I said, how come he's like God? What is he so holy? He says, all he talks about is himself. Ein od milvado. There's nothing else but him. So that's sometimes what happens. Sometimes that happens. You have people that shidduchim is tough. There was one time a guy that wanted to make a shidduch between two people, and he said, this is a tough shidduch. It's tough shidduch. So he asked his friend, he says, come with me to the shidduch. I need you to help me out. He says, okay, what do I need to do? He says, for everything that I say, exaggerate it. Like make it, Okay, said why not? Guys don't have to think, they just do. Okay, I'm in. So they get to the person's house, opens the door, he goes, sir, I have a shidduch for you. You have to listen to it. Okay, but said no. Tell me about her. He says she is well off. She has some money. So the friend says, she has some money. She has some money. She has so much money. All of the kings are waiting for her to call them. This money is good. He says also, she looks good. So the friend says, looks good. As it looks good. The Midrash says on Sarah Imenu that everybody else that's beautiful looks like a monkey next to her. They didn't include this one. This one, beautiful, something out of this world. Exaggerate. Okay, he says, and she comes from a family, good family. What good family? Moshe Rabbeinu's good family. This one's even better. What a family this one comes from. He doesn't even know the lady, but he's exaggerating. He's doing his job. So the guy gets excited. He goes, such a good shidduch. She has money. She is beautiful. She comes from a good family. How come she didn't get married? He said, listen, she has a little bit of a gibenet, a hump. So the guy, a friend, says, a hump? What a hump? It's a mountain. So sometimes you have to bring a partner that helps you, but he has to think sometimes. He has to think. So it's part of the simcha to make the chatan and the kala happy. It's a mitzvah to do it. And different people get happy in different ways. If you ask some of the big chachamim, like Rabbi Ovadia, what would make them happy? It depends on the circumstance. On a generally speaking, number one thing for Rabbi Ovadia is learn Torah. Learn Torah. But if Rabbi Ovadia had an opportunity to make a Jew happy with different things, that became number one. So it all depends on when and how. But as we see today, there's with the story that was exposed today, these couple of Christians that are pretending to be Jews, but not just Jews. They pretend to be rabbis. They pretend to be mohel, a sofer, a bedin, and this is all their criminals. But the bigger criminal hasn't even been discussed much in the media yet. The bigger criminal that's connected to the bigger web of other criminals is the rabbi of the Kehillah, this Rasha named Michael Aminov, who when a investigative reporter asked him, tell me, do you know, the article came out about your community, that you have Christian missionaries inside your Kehillah. We have pictures, we have all types of paperwork, all types of documents. These people have nothing Jewish about them. He responds, yeah, but they mean well, they have a pure heart. He says, but you realize they're not even Jewish. And Aminov's, the Rasha's response, who claims to be an Orthodox rabbi that does conversions for $10,000 to $25,000 at a clip, what is his response to the investigative reporter? In America, all religions are the same. All religions are equal. Now, if you came, if you're everything else in the world you can say, but that's not something you can say. And that's a problem that a lot of people hit. I mean, even some big famous rabbis that hit that problem when they were asked questions that were similar to it. But usually it's because they're not prepared. This guy is prepared and has all the time in the world to answer the question, but that's the answer because that's actually what he believes. So now all of the people that he has in his community, they're following him. He's their rabbi. Obviously, if I asked you, are you allowed to change rabbi? If your rabbi is a wicked person like this, the answer is by default, not only you can, you have to. So you can. You don't have, it's not an option to keep such a rabbi. But the question is, if your rabbi is a good rabbi, he's a normal rabbi, Talmid Chacham, dedicated to Torah, has says the truth, are you allowed to change him? Sani over here says it's a ridiculous question. He never actually said an answer, but he said it's a ridiculous question. Michal says absolutely not. Uzia Ovadia says I don't know. So we have like Pesach. Pesach, the kid, one is a knows, one doesn't know. Have But it's a legitimate question. It's a legitimate question. Can you change your rabbi? Now I tell you myself, if I don't talk to my rabbi, if I don't hear from my rabbi for 2 days, I'm already starting to get heart palpitations. I'm already starting to feel myself die spiritually. I already feel like there's something missing. So Baruch Hashem, today Kadosh Baruch Hu made it easy. You have books, you have a YouTube, and Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Ephraim has done both. And you could learn. But sometimes you want to talk to the rabbi. Sometimes you need to hear the rabbi's voice. Sometimes you need to get a message. And sometimes the rabbi is trying to get your attention, but you're running away. The question is, if your rabbi is a good rabbi, can you replace him? Where can we learn about this topic? First, we have to look at the world. Today, who has the biggest influence on people's choice of rabbi? Who would you say has the biggest influence on helping people choose their rabbi?
Who is the biggest influence?
What influences? Who? What?
Media. The rabbi is not the problem, the students.
That's the second part of the shiur. First part of the shiur is who helps the people decide the rabbi. The most effective referral source of rabbis, the biggest cheerleader of rabbis, and in fact the one that causes people to change their rabbi most often is the YouTube algorithm. Why? Because today video of Rabbi A is popular. Tomorrow Rabbi B is popular. The next day, Rabbi C, because his title said a few extra words and the YouTube algorithm likes that one. So a guy that doesn't have Yirat Shamayim, and doesn't really understand what it means to have a rabbi, every day he has a different rabbi. Oh, today I'm going to watch Rabbi A. The next day, oh, you know what? This guy sounds interesting. The next day, oh, look, this guy, never heard of him, but he says life after death. Oh, that sounds interesting. The next day, oh wow, look at that. Mashiach. I never heard of this rabbi before, but he looks religious, his beard is longer than the exile. I'm going to press over here. And every day he presses somewhere else, and he figures he's a Talmid Chacham. You ask him, so you have a rabbi? Rabbi, I have an entire community of rabbis. All the best rabbis in the world I know. And he watches rabbi this and rabbi that, and he goes to Torah anytime, and he goes to HaBRIT, and he goes to all the websites that give him an entire shopping list of rabbis. And every day he dabbles a little bit of onions, a little bit of peppers, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. He has all types of things. Now, this guy, do you think he's going to become a Talmid Chacham? I tell you something I know from experience, but also you'll see it from the Chachamim that discuss this topic. It'd be surprising if he stays religious. How about that? It'd be surprising if he even stays religious for hearing so many rabbis. Why? They're all religious, these rabbis. They're all Orthodox. We're not talking about one day he's listening to Reform, the next day he's listening to Messianic, and eventually he's going to arrive at Orthodox. We're saying they're all Orthodox. Listening to so many, it'll be surprising if he stays religious, because of all the confusion he's creating. But nonetheless, people choose their rabbis based on the wrong things. First and foremost, it's based on what's recommended on the internet. Sometimes it's YouTube, sometimes it's Torah Anytime, sometimes it's HaBRIT, sometimes it's whatever other network that has a lot of rabbis on it. So whatever is recommended, whatever is the highlighted, whatever is being pushed and marketed. The second thing that causes people to choose their rabbi is how they look. How they look. I want a young rabbi. I want a young rabbi. This guy is young. This guy looks like an athlete. It's the right fit for me. She looks at him, she goes, I want to marry somebody that's like this rabbi. She picks the guy that is the best looking in her eyes. He picks the guy that looks like he's like him. This rabbi is fit. I'm fit. He goes to the gym, I go to the gym. He's a good rabbi. And that's how they pick their rabbi. Some people pick a rabbi based on their look, but in a different way. I want a guy that looks like he just came from Mount Sinai. So they look at the most disheveled rabbi that you can find. Someone that looks like the mountain is on top of him right now. So they look at the guy, especially if he's got, the longer the beard, the more religious he is, and if he has different type of clothing, not just a suit. If he wears like a glima of some kind, like a Rav Ovadia glima, or like the Moroccan style, or his tzitzit is outside, he must be a mekubal. He must be a mekubal. This guy, he probably speaks to Hashem like a prophet, but he's too humble to tell people about it. And if he has peot, he must be a genius too. He must be a genius. He must be tzaddik. He must be that. And people pick people based on how they look. And it's not so different than how they do things in the regular life. How they get married, how they pick customers, how they pick people to buy from. It's the same thing. They pick rabbis that way. Another thing that causes people to pick rabbis is how they speak. He speaks clearly. One of the biggest motivators for people to choose Obama to become president was because he was an extraordinary speaker. If you ask his voters, what did Obama achieve in his life? In any aspect, whether it be a politician or a businessman or otherwise, no one can name a single thing. So why did you vote for him? He's such a good speaker. You're right, he's a good speaker, but that does not make him a valid candidate to run a country. Either way, he still did it. Same thing with Hitler. Hitler, what did he achieve in life before he became the guy that almost destroyed the entire world and literally motivated tens and tens of millions of people to become cold-blooded murderers? Until this day, there are people that literally view him as a holy figure. Till this day, that's how powerful he was. That's how powerful he was. What did he achieve in his life? No one can name much. No one can name much of substance. As far as a soldier, he wasn't a successful soldier. Business wasn't a successful business. What was he really good at? He was a very good speaker. He was such a good speaker that literally you don't have to understand German and you get motivated by what he's saying. But is that the right reason to pick him to lead? Needless to say, if the rabbi is a good speaker, is that the right reason to pick him? Or maybe you have a rabbi that mentions a lot of sources. He spits out sources like a machine. You could say, wow, that's really impressive. He knows the Torah like the back of his hand. Maybe he knows the Torah, or maybe he just recited this exact same lecture 1,000 times. So he just knows it by heart by now. It's not exactly so difficult. So is mentioning the sources? Not necessarily. What's really the main thing that should motivate a person to pick and choose a specific rabbi? Based on the rabbi's knowledge of that person, how much the rabbi knows about him. Now, of course, everybody starts at square one. The rabbi initially doesn't know anything about you. No rabbi knows anything about you. So you can't make that the first reason of why you would choose a rabbi, because then you'll never find a rabbi, because no rabbi knows anything about you. So the first thing is you need to simply find somebody that has Yirat Shamayim, that has a Da'at Torah, that says the truth, that you connect to and you're willing to learn from. But of course, as far as once you've learned from a few different people, you at some point need to get yourself a rabbi. And as the Mishnah in Avot says, Aseh lecharav. Now, and it can't be based on what clothing he's wearing, and whether he's young or he's old or he's tall or he's short or he's rich or he's poor, or he has peot or he doesn't have peot. All that stuff, that shouldn't really be the motivating factor. The motivating factor should be based on his Torah and based on your connection to it. Now, the Gemara in Masechet Sotah, page 57a, has a story I'm sure all of you have heard at some point, where Yanai was a king, went crazy one day, and decided to start killing Chachamim. Started killing Chachamim. One of the Gedolei Hador, his name was Rabbi Yeshua ben Perachia. Yeshua ben Perachia was one of the Zugot. So high, he didn't even didn't have the title of rabbi. Yeshua ben Perachia was a giant Chacham, and he fled, and he ran to Egypt. He took some students with him. Now one day, the news came out that Yanai stopped killing people, things have calmed down, so they sent word to Yeshua ben Perachia to come back. So on his way back, he stopped at a certain place with his Talmidim, and he received great honor from the people that were running it, because he's one of the Gedolei Hador. And Rabbi Yeshua ben Perachia was so happy to see that at a time where the king is killing Chachamim, there are still people that are honoring Chachamim, that he says to his students, look how beautiful this Achsanya is, meaning this place, this gathering, look how beautiful it is. The student says, no, Rabbi, I looked at her eyes look like round, like a cow. I don't find her beautiful. The student thinks that the rabbi is talking about the woman that's running the place, the wife of the guy that owns the place. He thinks that the rabbi is talking about the woman. The rabbi is not talking about the woman. He's talking about how it's great that they're honoring rabbis. So Rabbi Yeshua ben Perachia gets so angry at the student, and he says, not only do you show me that this is what you're doing, this is where your mind is, not only your mind is in filth and you're looking at girls that are not your wife, that's somebody else's wife, it's an eshet ish, but worse than anything, you think I'm like you. You think that your rabbi is looking at girls just like you, because you're looking at girls, your rabbi is looking at girls. That's it. I'm throwing you out. The Gemara says he took out 400 horns and put them on cherem. Who was the student? Yeshua Notzri, J.C. Penney. For those who, that's who it was. That's what happened. Now Yeshu, Yimach Shemo v'Zichro, he tried coming back, but Rabbi Yeshua ben Perachia wanted to teach him a lesson and not make it so simple. You know, if your kid breaks something, okay, no big deal. You take, he says sorry, okay, no problem, sorry. If your kid does something you told him not to do, okay, he says I'm sorry, forgive, okay, no problem. But if your kid does something that crosses the line, you can't just forgive so quickly. You have to sometimes teach a lesson. You have to make sure that they understand the point. So the rabbi is trying to teach his Talmid, which in this case is Yeshu, trying to teach him a lesson, and he's trying to tell him that to teach him that what he did is really terrible. Not only that he's looking in inappropriate places, but he has the wrong mindset of his rabbi. So he rejected him a bunch of times. But one day he decided that he's going to accept him the next time that he comes. But Yeshu comes to him when in the middle of prayer, where the rabbi is praying the Shachrit prayer, he's doing Shema Yisrael. And halacha is Gemara in Masechet Brachot, you'll see it. The Gemara says that if somebody comes to you in the middle of Shema Yisrael, you're not allowed to talk. You're not allowed to talk, you're not allowed to stop. Same thing with Amidah, you're not allowed to just talk, stop, you have to. So the rabbi was in the middle of Shema Yisrael, was in the middle of praying. He couldn't, but he knew that Yeshu was trying to get his attention. So he nudged her, like he made a movement, like wait, after I finish. But he didn't say anything. Yeshu didn't understand this message, thought that he's rejecting him again. Instead of this, he thought that he's like, shooing him away. So he decided to let it all go and become an idol worshiper. And that's the story. Follow-up of the story, the Gemara says that after this happened, the rabbi saw that he's becoming an idolater, and there's some midrashim that talk about how Yeshu discovered the Shema Meforash, the tetragrammaton, the real name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he was able to use it in a way in order to make things, supernatural things. Some say that he was using kishuf, witchcraft. Some say it was a combination. Either way, point is that he was doing things that were wrong, and he was trying to get people to follow him. And then the rabbi comes to him and says, Chazor becha, do tshuva. And Yeshu says to Yeshua ben Parachia, his rabbi, Rabbi Yeshua ben Parachia, says to him, you are the one that taught me that anyone that causes the masses to sin, causes the public to sin, has no assistance to do tshuva. En maspikin beyado lasot tshuva. Hashem doesn't accept his tshuva. Now the truth is, it's not that it doesn't accept his tshuva, it's that Hashem doesn't help him do tshuva. Every person does tshuva. You guys all have done tshuva at some point in your life. Hashem helped you. Whether it's understand something or find something, but a person that causes people to sin, Hashem doesn't help them do tshuva. They're on their own, which makes it much more difficult to do tshuva. But the point is that Yeshu is quoting his own rabbi while telling his rabbi that, I'm a lost cause, I'm done. Now, question number one. Let's say Yeshu is upset at his rabbi, he rejected him. Why go to idolatry? Why not just go to another yeshiva? Why not just go to another rabbi? There were other great sages at the time. Why not just find another rabbi? Another yeshiva. What's the big deal? I know they didn't have the YouTube algorithm over there, but there were other rabbis there. Why don't you just go to another rabbi? Second, why idolatry? Okay, so become secular. Or just be religious on your own. Why idolatry? Believe it or not, the answer to those questions will answer our questions of whether we're allowed to change a rabbi. Now, the rabbi that is in this story, Rabbi Yeshua ben Parachia, he is mentioned in Pirkei Avot in the beginning. It's chapter 1, Mishnah number 6, right in the beginning of the Pirkei Avot, and his Mishnah is Aseh lecha rav ukne lecha chaver, make yourself a rabbi and buy yourself a friend, and judge everybody else with a benefit of the doubt, kaf zchut. Meaning that Yeshua ben Parachia is the one that is actually taught us that we're obligated to get ourselves a rabbi. And when it comes to friends, buy yourself a friend. The simple meaning is, get yourself a rabbi, don't try to buy a rabbi. Don't make your rabbi like your employee, where pretty much he's scared to tell you the truth because you're giving him money. You can give him money if you want, you don't have to give him money, but the point is, don't make that the deciding factor. If your rabbi is scared to tell you the truth, he's not your rabbi, he's your friend. So first and foremost, you have to already know that. But your friend, buy your friend. Why? Don't think that your friends are really going to be unconditional. Everybody thinks that their childhood friends are going to be friends with them when they're 80 years old. In reality, you'd be lucky if you're still friends 5 years later. And everybody thinks, yeah, but once I'm already grown up, I'm already 20, 25 years old, the friends that I have now are the friends that are always going to be my friends. You'd be lucky if they're still friends with you in 5 years from now. Once you have kids and they have kids and everybody's life progresses in different directions, it's nothing personal, it's just a reality of things. In fact, you'd be lucky if you're still talking to your siblings on a regular basis in 20 years from now. Why? Because everybody's lives goes in different directions. So don't make such a big deal out of this particular friend and thinking, get yourself a friend, it's fine. But more important than anything else, you have to have a rabbi. Why you have to have a rabbi? Because the Gemara says While your father, your biological father, brings you to this world, your rabbi brings you into the eternal world, into Olam Haba. So Yeshua ben Parachia tells us, make yourself a rabbi. Make yourself a rabbi. Now, the people pick their rabbi based on the YouTube algorithm, pick their rabbi based on what's being marketed on the internet today. But the Chachamim say you have to look at things a little bit different. Why? If you look at this week's parasha, you see that Lot was following his rabbi, which is Avraham Avinu, and as a result of the teachings and the life of Avraham Avinu, initially Lot had to go through difficulty, but then eventually the bracha came. The bracha came and Lot became very rich. But after he became rich, money got involved. Lot decided that him and his rabbi are not seeing eye to eye, because he wanted to already start benefiting from the land that Hashem promised to Avraham, and Avraham says, no, but it's not mine yet. So the rabbi said, Lot didn't agree. So what did Lot do? He left. He went to Sodom. Now you figure, if you learn with Avraham Avinu for so many years, you'd stick to his Torah. If somebody asked you a question, you'd answer just like the rabbi would answer. But we see here that Lot became a judge in Sodom, and when the angels came and went into his house and the people of Sodom attacked the house, Lot concludes that in order to truly honor the guests, he has to sacrifice the lives of his daughters. That's how he paskined. Would his rabbi paskin like that? No. No, he wouldn't paskin like that. But Lot concluded that way, showing that even though he had a good start and his rabbi was very strong, the influence that he had destroyed everything that he learned. But he did change a rabbi. He picked himself as the rabbi. The Avot Rabbi Natan says on the Mishnah in Avot, it says, make yourself a rabbi. It says that you have an obligation to have a rabbi that's going to teach you wisdom, which is Midrash, Halacha, and Agadah. You have an obligation to have a rabbi teach you these things, so you know how to function in life. But then Rabbi Ovadia Bartanura comes and comments on this comment and says, okay, but don't think for a moment that the sages are saying you have to have somebody teach you Torah, teach you Chokhmah, that every day you could just pick somebody else. Like some of the people, he says, that every other day they have somebody else teaching them something different. That's not what the Mishnah is saying. When Rabbi Yeshua Parachia says, make yourself a rabbi, he meant, make yourself a rabbi. One rabbi. One rabbi that you're going to learn Torah from. But then he says, but how can I say that if we have a Gemara that's in Masechet Avodah Zarah, page 19a, that says anyone that learns Torah from a single rabbi will never see a blessing in his learning. So how could the Bartanura say, make yourself a single rabbi, and not many? But the Gemara seems to be saying the opposite, that if you only learn from one rabbi, you're not going to see any blessing. He says, because the meaning of the Gemara is telling you, when you're learning Torah, don't only learn the opinion of one of the sages. Learn the opinion of different sages. If you see in the Gemara, it tells us the opinions of all the sages that discuss this particular issue. When you learn halakha, after you've learned the basics, you have to start looking at different opinions of different things. Why did he say this? Why did he say that? You learn the midrash, look at the different perspectives. Sometimes the midrashim agree, sometimes the midrashim disagree. But look, it's toil in Torah and look at the different aspects and see how the complete picture is much more beautiful than the one-dimensional picture that you'll get from a single chacham, no matter how great. If you only learn the opinion of a single chacham your entire life, your Torah will never have blessing. But if you to know what the actual conclusion of everything is, to know what to do in life, to know what the basic pshat, has to be from a single rabbi, he says. The opinions, the svarot, learned from many. But how to learn and what the bottom line is, has to come from one. That's what it means, make yourself a rabbi. Now, the interesting thing that we asked is that Yeshu learned, made a mistake, Rabbi came to get him to do tshuva, it was too late. Even the Chachamim rebuke Rabbi Yaron Reuven, saying that although he was right, we all know you need to push with the left, pull with the right, meaning he was a little bit too tough. So what happens if the rabbi rebukes you? What if the rabbi yells at you? What if the rabbi barks on you? You guys ever heard that term, barks? This was my generation from 1912. Anybody yells at you, we used to call that barking on you. Rabbi rebuked you. Rabbi yelled at you. What do you do then? Get a different rabbi? Can you exchange a rabbi? The Midrash comments on Tehillim chapter 8. It says, what is the Torah, what are the Chachamim talking about when they're saying, make yourself a rabbi? It says, even if your rabbi makes you the dust under his feet because of how hard he rebukes you, if he means it for the sake of heaven, not only do you accept being the dust under his feet, do it with a full heart and make him a king over you. Yeah, but he makes me feel bad, he makes me cry. Baruch Hashem. If that's what it takes for him to be a rabbi, do it. Again, not a sociopath that just likes to yell at people for no reason whatsoever. He's rebuking you because you did something. He's trying to help you with something. Whatever the case is. But the point being is, Chachamim said that even if the rabbi is tough on you, not only accept it with complete love. Today, everybody loves my shulim, except when it affects them. Then you have a mixed batch. I had a few times people that will reform their whole life contact me, tell me how much they love my shulim. One time, a reform rabbi, started commenting on my channel saying how much he loves the shulim. They're so great, they're so this, they're so that. And then one day, one of the shulim affected him in some way or another. He started cursing me until next week. People, I talk to them about Shabbat. If they keep Shabbat, they say, Rabbi, speak hard about it, because it doesn't affect them. If I talk about business, say, yeah, Rabbi, go. Speak hard about all those people that steal, because it doesn't affect them. But as soon as you talk about something that affects them, then you start seeing how people change. The truth is, if somebody wants to really grow, they have to discuss and learn the things that affect them, not the things that don't affect them. Now sometimes The only way to get a message to a person is to rebuke them, is to tell them, you're doing something wrong. Most people today, if they do not have a lot of kavod for the rabbi that's teaching them, they cannot handle the rebuke. They simply shut down. They run away. They decide, okay, I have to find myself a new rabbi. Why you have to find yourself a new rabbi? Oh, he's mad at me. Rabbi's mad at me, so I guess we have to find a new rabbi. Yeah, okay, even if he's mad at you, why do you have to find somebody new? Because he's mad at me, so I don't know. I guess he doesn't want me. He doesn't want to be my rabbi anymore. People think that if the rabbi is, even if the rabbi is mad, which is not common, but nonetheless, let's say the rabbi is mad. Say, oh, so since he's mad at me, he probably doesn't want me to be a student anymore. Or better yet, I'm mad at my rabbi. Why? He said such and such, and I don't really like it. I don't agree with him on this point. He said, take this, and I don't think you should take this. Like the thing with the whole thing with the vaccine. People, literally, half of the population has changed their rabbi over the last year because of the stupid vaccine. Oh, my rabbi is for the vaccine. I think he's killing people. I can't have a murderer as my rabbi. Or better yet, my rabbi is anti-vaccine. He's a conspiracy theory. I can't have a psychopath be my rabbi. You know, people are 50-50. And people are changing their rabbis like they're changing pants. So now we go back to the same question. We see here, on one end the Chachamim say, have a rabbi, even if the rabbi is tough on you. And not only if he's tough on you, even if he's rebuking you, and you have to accept it with complete love, and don't even go shopping around elsewhere in the Google algorithm. Stick to it. Okay, fine. So Yeshu, did he know more than us, or did he know less than us? I can assure you, he knew more. He lived in a generation of Yeshua ben Parachia. If his rabbi was one of the greatest rabbis that ever lived. He was a few generations before Rabbi Akiva. So how come he didn't do this? How come he didn't just go to another rabbi? He wasn't a stupid guy. Why didn't he just go to another rabbi? Another yeshiva? And instead, go to idolatry. Yeshu knew there's no such thing as changing rabbi. If he's a real rabbi, he says the emet, there is no other option. And if my rabbi doesn't want me, he's my connection to Olam Haba. If I don't have a connection to Olam Haba, might as well go to idolatry. When Yeshu understood and really misunderstood the message and the teachings of his rabbi and what he was trying to really teach him, he concluded that the rabbi doesn't want to be his rabbi anymore. In reality, the rabbi was trying to teach him how to behave and how to evaluate the consequence for your actions. Because he did not understand the message, because his mind was full of garbage, he said, okay, so the hell with all of it. Why not go to another rabbi? There's no chance that another rabbi can fix this. Why? Because when a person really has an understanding of what their rabbi is and what a rabbi is in general, they don't even have the ability to handle their rabbi being upset at them. That's why you see when tzaddikim pass away, tzaddikim leave this world. For example, Rabbi Ovadia, his Ilula was just a week and a half ago. When he left this world, almost 1 million people in a country of 10 million were in the street crying hysterical. And you see people, grown people, young people, old people, male, female, religious, not religious, crying hysterical, like worse than they cried for the funeral of their own parents. These people understood what was a loss. When a person understands what's there, what's at risk, he can't handle it. 800 years ago, there was a person by the name of Avner. Avner was a Talmid of the Ramban Nachmanides. Avner went off to derech, started becoming Mechalel Shabbat, started eating tarif, started focusing more on physical pleasures, and ignored the Torah of his rabbi. And the more he became successful financially, the more sins he made. Became a multimillionaire. One day, he gets the Ramban. He gets in front of the Ramban, and he says, "You know, Rabbi, you're the reason why I abandoned the entire Torah." Ramban says, "Why? How did I make you abandon the Torah out of all the things in the world?" He says, "Because you taught in one of the shiurim that everything in the world that ever happened or will happen is hinted in Sefer Dvarim, in the book of Deuteronomy. Not even just the entire Torah, but even just in the book of Deuteronomy that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote, everything that ever happened and will happen is hinted in there. And I simply don't buy it. How could it be?" So after you said that, that's it. I threw it out. So the Ramban says, what makes you think that it's not there? Why don't you just ask? He says, prove to me that I'm hinted in Sefer Dvarim. He says, very simple. In Sefer Dvarim, Parashat Azinu, chapter 32, verse 36, on the spot, the Ramban says to him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu talks about the people that will be banished and completely eliminated from all recollection of Am Yisrael. In that verse, you skip 5 letters, 5-letter skips, spells Aleph, Bet, Nun, Resh, Avner. That's you. Avner knew that everything that the Ramban said is 100% emet. Decided, that's it. He boards one of his ships without any food, without any water, and he sails into the ocean without anyone, and there's no recollection of him surviving. In so many words, committed suicide. Why didn't he just do tshuva? Why didn't he just go back to the and restart? He simply could not deal with the fact, not only that he lived a lie, but that his rabbi has been his enemy this whole time. And he couldn't reconnect, he couldn't redo, he couldn't fix what he broke after so many years. And when a person understands what a real connection is between the Talmid and the rabbi, they know that this is not something that you can replace like you do with pants or with cars and the car leases every few years. So the Rav Zavichi, Sheikhir Rav Pinchas Zavichi, in Ateret Paz, in his new Sefer, it's the 7th volume, it's the 5th part, he says that if somebody looks at the teaching of the sages, it says in Gemara Masechet Bava Metzia that while the father, biological father of a person brings him to this world, the rabbi brings him to the next world. He says, from here we see that if somebody wants to make, let's say, a dedication in a book, let's say he's sponsoring a book or he's writing a book, wants to write a dedication, he says, from here we learn that if somebody makes a dedication, they have to make a dedication to their rabbi first, and then their parents. And he says, and that's what I did. That's what he himself did in his books. You dedicate first to Rav Ovadia, he was his Talmid for 40 years, and then he wrote his parents. You You tell this to most people today. What do you mean? What's by my parents? Okay, so that means the rabbi that you call your rabbi is not really your rabbi. Why? You don't understand what it means. Most people today have no idea what I'm talking about, because most people today cannot comprehend such a relationship between a person and someone that is teaching them. And the reason why is because, number one, their source of information is not singular. They're getting information from wherever they can find it. Today he decides that he's going to learn Gemara. Tomorrow he's going to learn Midrash. The next day he's going to just not learn. The next day maybe a little Musar. The next day he's going to look on YouTube, just go shopping, go rabbi shopping. And every day he's just, doing whatever it is that he's doing. You ask him, who structured your learning? Oh no, I did it on my own. So what makes you think that this is the right way to learn? Well, I like it. I like it. If that's the way you learn, you're never going to achieve anything in the world of Torah. You're never going to achieve anything in the world of Torah. And then you have another guy and says, listen, I learn a little bit of a lot of things. From such time to such time, I learn a little bit of Proverbs. From such time to such time, I learn the Parshat Shavua. From such time to such time, I learn a little bit of Mesilat Yesharim. Such time to such time, I'll learn a little bit of Gemara, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Before you know it, he covered 8, 9, 10 different sources throughout the whole day. Now you would think, oh, this guy, one day he's going to know all these things, he's going to be a genius. Opposite. He will never be a Talmid Chacham. Because that's not the way you learn. But then you say, yeah, but look, when Rabbi Ovadia, you see pictures of him, sometimes there's pictures of him, and there's literally 2, 3, 4 dozen books in front of him, and he's reading all of them at the same time. Well, first of all, we're not Rabbi Ovadia. Second of all, if you notice, they all are in a part of the same subject. So it's like building a building, one floor on top of the other. But when somebody's just delving into things and mixing a batch and there's really no rhyme or reason, they're never going to make up anything. They'll just know a little bit about a lot of different things and just enough to sound intelligent, but they'll never actually be a Talmid Chacham. Many speakers that are out there in the world today, that's exactly what they are. They know a little bit about a lot of different things in order to hold a conversation, in order to make a nice speech, in order to inspire people with a few good stories. But if you ask them something that requires serious limud, they'll say you have to ask Talmid Chacham. You have to ask somebody else. I have no idea what you're talking about. They're not Talmid Chachamim. Most speakers are not Talmid Chachamim. Why? Because in order to be a Talmid Chacham, first and foremost, there's a certain amount of dedication that's required to a singular issue. So it sounds like you'll study less, but in reality you're not going to study less. You'll end up knowing more, focusing more on certain things, and that's what you'll see. In yeshiva, in kollel, there's a focus. They're not just study whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. There's a focus, and that's really the job of the Rosh Yeshiva and the Mashgiach of the Yeshiva, to tell people when and what and how. Hence the reason of why people that go through the whole yeshiva system and have the merit of going through the whole yeshiva system, they're still connected to their Rosh Yeshiva from 20, 30 years ago, even though they're not going to the yeshiva. And it's not for the sake of donations. Why? They're Rosh Yeshiva. That's my rabbi. Yeah, but you're 50 years old. Your rabbi's students are 15. Yeah, but he's still my rabbi. He's my Rosh Yeshiva. He's my rabbi. I can't leave him. He's the umbilical cord for me, between me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, when a person wants to become successful, when a person wants to become not just a Talmid Chacham, but when a person wants to simply succeed in life, they need to know that in the world of Torah, the source has huge significance. Not just the source of where you will find an answer to something, but the source of inspiration that a person has significant weight. Why? Because some people, they'll be inspired by certain type of limud, Hasidut, Musar, Halacha, and so on and so forth. But regardless of which one they start off with, if they want to succeed in the world of Torah, they have to build on it. You can't just learn Musar your whole life and that's it. You can't just learn Halacha in your life and that's it. You can't just learn anything. You have to learn a lot of things. But everything has its own time. But the key is to know is that the job of the rabbi is to direct you and tell you, this is what you learn now. Now it's time for you to learn something else. Now it's time for you to learn something else. And now the student, in essence, is supposed to accept on the fact that you are not just a student where you don't know all these things that you haven't learned yet, but rather you have to accept the fact that you don't even know how to learn yet. You have to have instructions from the rabbi of what to learn. And most adults don't want to know, don't want anyone to tell them what to learn. Why? I like this book. I want to read this book. Why do I need permission from my rabbi to read this book? It's a good book. Big rabbi wrote the book. And the truth is because sometimes a talmid lies to themselves. Really, everybody lies to themselves to a certain extent, but a talmid lies to himself thinking that he knows a lot more, or she knows a lot more than she really does. And they'll advance faster than they're really supposed to. And you'll have somebody that does not even know basic halacha, has never even reviewed the entire Shas, already decided he's going to dedicate his life to Kabbalah. Now this person will not only never know Kabbalah, but they'll never even know basics. Why? Because they decided that this is where they need to be. Or vice versa, a person says, listen, I'm just going to dedicate all my time to halacha. Great, you'll know a lot of things, but you won't know how to practice them. You won't know how to behave. So that's where the rabbi comes in as far as to tell the person when to do certain things, how to do certain things. And the job of the talmid is in essence to accept this instructions with love, and say, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. Now sometimes there's friction. The rabbi tells you you're wrong. Or the rabbi tells you something and you don't accept it. You don't think it's true. The rabbi says, do this. Where's it written, rabbi? Where's it written that I have to do this? It's written because I said it. That's what it's written. Yeah, but give me a source. I don't have a source. So how do you know it's the right thing to do? Because I know what you need to do. This is what you need to do. I don't need to give you a source in order to tell you what to do. Average person doesn't accept that. Why? First and foremost, even if you give people a source, 9 out of 10 times they're only asking you for a source just to know if there is one, because they know that if there isn't, for sure they're not listening to you. It's an excuse not to listen to you. And if there's a source that says so, I'm going to go find a source that says the opposite. Meaning you've already decided whether to listen to him or not, regardless of whether he brought you the source. If he doesn't have a source, you already won. See, he's just making stuff up. If it does have a source, is there a source that says the other one? I used to have a talmid like this. Shem Yishmo, what tzarot he gave me. Everything I would say is, Rabbi, can you give me a source for this? I say, yeah, here's a source for that. Okay, is there someone that says the opposite? Yeah, there's someone that says the opposite. Oh, so how come you didn't teach that? So because it's not relevant. This is what we're teaching. This is what it says. This is what you're supposed to do. Yeah, but maybe I want to know both opinions. Why are you shortchanging me, Rabbi? Why are you shortchanging me? I said, if you want to learn further, go learn, Habibi. The whole world of Torah is in your hands. Go learn. Who's stopping you? I have what, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to teach you? I can't teach you every single source under the sun. But sometimes a person is going to look for an excuse not to listen. One of them is sources. Yes, you have a source. If you don't have one, okay, there's an excuse not to listen to you. If you give him one and he really doesn't want to listen to you, okay, is there someone that says the opposite? Rule number 1 in Judaism, everything has an opposite. Meaning, everything has the opposite opinion. Everything has. There's a conflict about it. Now, of course, there's the basics that there isn't a conflict. Like, no one's going to tell you you're allowed to turn on fire on Shabbat. Not allowed. But there are certain things that are not so simple that there is a conflict. But still, we know what to do. If a person is looking to do whatever they want, they'll find a way to do whatever they want. If a person is looking for the truth, they're not always going to find it. And for sure they're not going to find it if they're navigating that world by themselves. That's in essence one of the things that these people knew. Even Yeshu, Imach Shimo v'Zichro, that caused many people to go against the Kadosh Baruch Hu, many people to kill Jews, many people to go against the Torah. Literally there are 2 billion people in the world today that worship him. But even he knew how critical it is to stay connected to the source. So much so that if I can't stay connected to that source, I might as well throw everything in the garbage and become an idol worshiper, because I'm not different. I'm not different. Same thing with this Rasha named Avner. As soon as Avner didn't understand what his rabbi said, he decided, I'm just going to throw everything away. They weren't stupid people. These are not dumb people. These are people that just simply understood what a rabbi is differently than we do. We think a rabbi is somebody that inspires me. We think a rabbi is someone that tells good stories. We think a rabbi is someone that I get along with, someone that's a tzaddik. Somebody told me the other day, listen, I'm changing because I want someone that is local. I want someone that's local. You don't live next to me. Okay. Another person says, I went to see this other rabbi, I sat in front of them 10 minutes, I asked him questions, and every answer that I asked him, he gave me a one-word answer. I ask every question. People ask questions, usually it's like a Megillat Esther. It's like long, and it just, everybody's questions are very long. But the rabbi, one-word answer. Yes, no, write this, write that. Simple things, very short answers. And after we left, 10 minutes later, we look at each other and we say, wow, what a holy man. I said, yeah, that holy man is not going to help you in your life, because you have no idea what he's talking about. He's saying yes, no, assuming that you people know what you're talking about. You guys don't know what he's talking about. You're buying into the image. You're buying into the image. Person needs to know whether your rabbi is local or he lives across the ocean. That's not as important. What's important is that you stay connected to that source. Now somebody could say, okay, my rabbi is the Rambam. My rabbi is the Rambam. Are you better than the Rambam? No. And can never be better than the Rambam. No one in the world can be better than the Rambam. But the Rambam can't be your rabbi. Why? The Rambam, Paskin Halacha, and 95% of the Shulchan Aruch is based on the Rambam. But what about practical day-to-day life? Like if your wife wants to buy a dress or a car or something that perhaps is a little bit above your budget, or you want to move to a new neighborhood, or you're thinking maybe you should start learning Shas Yerushalmi instead of the Bavli. Is the Rambam going to answer those questions for you? Can you call the Rambam and he can ask? Can you send him a WhatsApp message? If your wife says, honey, I think you should sleep on the couch. Honey, we don't have a couch. No, I meant your brother's couch in a different house. Sleep over there. I don't want you at home anymore. Is the Rambam going to answer that question for you? No. He's Kodesh Kodashim. But what you can learn from him is what he wrote. Your day-to-day life of how to analyze what he wrote, your day-to-day life of how to apply what he wrote, you need to have a living rabbi. You need to have a living rabbi. Whether that rabbi is across the ocean or is next door is not as important, as long as you have access to them. Some people say, my rabbi is this big mekubal. They say one of the Abu Chatziras. He's my rabbi. And I say, okay, you want to believe that the Rav Abu Chatzira is your rabbi? Okay, you could pretend that he's your rabbi. You could pretend that he's your rabbi, but it's not going to help you in life. Why? Because Rav Abu Chatzira has 1.5 million people saying he's their rabbi, and guess what? If you ask him, are these your students? He's not going to tell you yes. Why? Because he knows that he cannot commit to all of these people. Can't commit to all of these people. So what? They come see him once a year and ask for a blessing? That doesn't make him their rabbi. He could be an inspiration. He can give you some advice. But a person needs to understand that it's the source has to be a lot more than just that. Has to be a lot more than just that. And it has to be a lot more than just a YouTube video. Has to be a lot more than just you like this rabbi's book. It has to be a lot more. And if people simply took this to heart, they'd be a lot more careful with decisions they make. They'd be a lot less confused with the things that they do. And that's really one of the last things that I'd say, is that if you notice, if you have dedicated yourself to a single source of information, single rabbi, and then you have friends that have not. They could tell you Joe Schmo is their rabbi, but you know that he doesn't really listen to him. Like Joe is their rabbi, but if Joe says don't do anything, he doesn't really listen to him. He does it anyway. So it's not really their rabbi. It's like somebody that they say they call a rabbi. Because if he's really their rabbi, Joe says jump, he says how high. If somebody's really their rabbi, the Chachamim say make him into a king, meaning listen to everything that he says. So a person needs to understand if it's really a rabbi, you have to do everything more respect than even your parents. Most people don't understand that concept, and that's why most of us don't have a rabbi. Most of us don't. But if you see people that have a rabbi versus people that don't have a rabbi, the quickest thing that you could spot it is that the one that has a rabbi, they're never confused. Even if they don't know the answer, they're not confused. Why? Because listen, I don't know what to do here, but I know where to get the answer. And I know, even if I'm not going to get the answer for another week, it's going to be okay. Because eventually I'm going to get the answer. It's going to be okay. Eventually I'm going to know what to do. Why? Because I know where the source is. Whereas the other people that shop around, they have some people. I'm a part of a mail list. What? They send the question to 5, 10, 15 rabbis at a time, and they CC all the rabbis. CC, Rabbi, can I do such and such? And you see, you and Rabbi this one and that one, everybody gets the same question. That's how they send questions. They think this is the right way to approach things. And this is what most people do. And guess what? They will remain eternally confused. Because they don't have the same source. This is why, by the way, as a side note, why the Hasidim, like the Hasidei Breslev or Vishnitz or Tzantz or anything, they make such a big deal about the Rebbe. Not just the Rebbe from Lubavitch, all of the Rebbes. Whether it's the Rebbe from Mitzanz, or it's the Rebbe Titelbaum from Satmar, or it's any of the Rebbes, Rabbi Nachman Breslev, the Hasidim made a big deal of the Rebbe. Why? That's my source. That's my source. That is my spiritual nourishment. That's where it comes from. If it's coming from elsewhere, I don't necessarily always have to make rely on it and take it and accept it. But if it came from there, that's it. That's like it's life. That's life. So when a person understands the significance of a Rebbe, it's easier for them to understand what the significance of a rabbi is. And if a person understands that, then they can assure themselves that they're going to have a straight path to a successful life. Why? Because I know this is the direction, this is where I need to go. Whether I understand or I don't understand doesn't really make much of a difference. The rabbi says go, I go. The rabbi says stay, I stay. The rabbi yelled at me, okay, thank you very much, Rabbi. Thank you for yelling at me. One of the grandchildren of the Sabri Slavotka got rebuked by him for something he didn't do. And his friend says, why don't you tell your Saba that you didn't do it? I knew you were studying, you weren't. Because you think I'm going to pass on an opportunity from getting rebuked by one of the biggest tzaddikim of the generation? Because the greatest thing that ever happened to me is my Saba rebuking me. Yeah, but you didn't do anything wrong. He goes, who cares? One time, what other time do you have an opportunity to get rebuked by a tzaddik? Right, wrong, who cares? It's a tzaddik, he said something, I'm going to hear him. And that's when a person understands. That kid, 12, 13 years old, 14 years old, understood what a rabbi is. Today you have 40-year-olds don't understand what a rabbi is. And I can tell you myself, my own experience, the greatest blessing HaKadosh Baruch Hu ever gave me was having a rabbi. Why? Because I know That's where the source is. No confusion. Yeah, but what if it's not available now? So it's not available now. If it's not available now, it doesn't exist. You know when it exists? When it's available. Until I have the information, it doesn't. It's like it doesn't exist in the world. Yeah, but what about this other one? He's really, really smart, and that one is really, really smart, and that one is really, really this. And it doesn't make a difference. If they are teaching what the source is teaching, then why should I go there? I already have it. If they're teaching something that's contrary to the source, why should I go there? And that's why a person wants to grow in the world of Torah. Usually they don't split into different things. And even if you're going to have multiple places you're going to learn, if it's books, you focus on the older books, the Rishonim, the Achronim, or the Gdolei Ador, the ones that were accepted universally by Klal Yisrael, then you could read as many books as you want, because they're all in essence under the same umbrella, the all Gdolim, the all giants. But if it's modern day speakers, whether it's myself, and it's Rabbi this, and it's Rabbi that, and it's all of these different rabbis, the best thing you could do for yourself is limit it as much as possible. If you can limit it to one, that's ideal. If you have to listen to another that doesn't talk the same way, in a sense, as far as the same topic, talks about a different topic. If I'm talking about Mashiach, and he's talking about Mashiach, there's no point of listening to both of us. He's going to talk about Halakha, I'll talk about this. I talk about Halakha, he talks about this. There's no point of listening to someone that's going to teach you the same exact thing, unless the teachings are insufficient and it needs further support. But again, usually what people do is that they decide they're going to find what to learn based on a topic. They go on the internet, they type Mashiach, and they see 75 different rabbis have talked about Mashiach today. Okay, so I have something to do for the next 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this is how you waste your life. This is how you can waste your life. Because not only are you going over the same exact topic over and over and over and over again, but you're getting it from different sources, and it doesn't have any value. Why? Because you're not going to appreciate any one of the source to the level that it deserves. Each one of those rabbis may be a great rabbi, but you don't value them that way. You're looking at them like a newspaper article. So you're wasting your time going around that way, shopping around that way. Person needs to be more focused, narrow their focus, have a certain structure of learning as far as books, have a certain structure of learning as far as if they're hearing speakers, and go straight. For how long? Until Olam Haba. Until Olam Haba. Once a person does that, they'll be very, very successful. And don't worry, you will have bumps in the road. It's not a matter of don't worry, there's not going to be bumps in the road. You will have bumps in the road. And the way to overcome those bumps in the road is stick to the source. Stick to the source of inspiration, stick to the source that worked, stick to the source that brought you into this world. What if the source yells at me? Look, Yeshu got yelled at, he left, look what happened with him. A few other people got yelled too, but they didn't leave, and they turned out okay. They didn't become some false religion. And that's what we have to say. Sometimes it needs to happen. B'ezrat Hashem, each one of us continues to grow. The couple continues to grow. Next time we have dinner, B'ezrat Hashem, so we're not only going to see Netanya Yosef grow like all of us married people grow, but also we'll see B'ezrat Hashem the family grow, and more bracha, more atzlacha, more simcha, more Torah, and each and every single one of us can spread the kedusha that we're learning and that we're teaching to every single corner of the world. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen.
בהמשך. אני מברך את הרבנים, רגע. אני מברך את הרבנים, הרב ירון ראובן, הרב אפרים כחלון, ראשי ארגון בעזרת השם, שהלכו בפי עליון, שעלו מעלה, יהיה להם ברכה והצלחה. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא בישועות ליבם לטובה ולברכה, שבכל אשר יפנו ישכילו ויצליחו. נזכור לעשות כאלה וכאלה, הודיעו תורה לאדירה, אמן ואמן.
בעזרת השם רשת בכל הארץ. הוא היהודי הזה, הוא היה מיליונר, סגר את כל הביזנס, אמר אני משקיע פה בעולמה של תורה.
איפה הוא גר?
בפלורידה.
פלורידה, איפה זה פלורידה? באמריקה.
במיימי. כן, ליד. אנחנו שם עכשיו הולכים להקים קהילה ספרדית גדולה.
תעביר לו מה שבירכתי אותו.
כן, קהילה ספרדית גדולה.
כן.